Okay, we're going to get started on thumbnails and point of view. So this is one of my favorite assignments to do, or tasks, I guess. We're not going to do any crazy 2-point, 3-point, 4-point perspective yet, or landscapes, but we are going to cover um, just kind of the basics of getting started with thumbnailing. So we're going to start off with just doing people, and I just have my simple main chisel brush here. Now I don't want to zoom in too close, so I want to stay a little farther back. Just start off with some circles. Start off with some simple shapes. The head's always a circle, depending. And you can, ghost as we talked about before, and then play around with circle, triangle, feet, legs, triangle. You see my hand's still very unsteady right now. So I'm just kind of trying to get something going here. And kind of a flat movement can work pretty well initially. They can have a prop or not. And as you loosen up with the circles and triangles, you can also play around with the shape and the density. I'm trying not to scribble too much, right? I'm trying to keep it clean. So as you go, if you get something not super excited with, you just delete it real quick. And for line of action, I usually like to go from the neck down the spine to a foot and then up again. This is kind of a classical, almost creating like a Star Trek type of shape. And trying to get my tablet down here. There we go. And expression, shoulders, right? And I like to offset the feet a tiny bit. The foot that's farther away would be a little higher. The foot that's closer to us would be a little closer. And I don't know what this guy's doing. It's like maybe he is from wrist to shoulder, and maybe he's jumping back. He's afraid or something. Do simpler. Do after you've done a couple triangles and circles, you could do some squares. We could do little feet. And I'm not pressing too much harder, but you can play with the law of overlapping shapes. That is a line that's a little heavier is going to be closer in front of you, and a line that's lighter behind it is going to kind of be faded away. So if I want that arm behind the body, maybe I'd stop the line there a little bit. Maybe she's carrying a tray. Maybe some drinks. Little ellipses, little circles that are not perfectly round help a lot. Moving right along, I'm just trying to do a row of these. So I'll stop. I'm going to do several rows and I'll go into silhouette. Um, but use your drawing, use your brush. Don't have the lazy brush on. Try to really change your angle if you need to. Use the rotate. If you're holding your iPad, try and maybe play around with if they're coming, some kind of action they're doing, like maybe walking down the stairs. It instantly happen here. Maybe holding a handrail as walking. Escape down. Get a nice little lean there. And go the other way. And maybe think of what they're doing. Well, of course, what are most people doing today? Checking on their phone. Escape. If you can adjust them a little bit as you go, I just hit Control T and get anything that I'm not super happy with. Like this is going down the stair rail. Control T. And there you go. Get my posture. Control D. Deselect while I'm going. Maybe to really play around more with the circle shape. Be sitting on a bench. maybe sitting, coming towards us, and perhaps reading a book. So you really have a lot of freedom here to just go fast. I'm just kind of not giving too much thought. I will stop and pause a little bit, maybe just going fishing and smoking a cigarette. Use a little fishing pole, sure. So think of accessories you'd like to put on there. Too crazy. Maybe sitting cross-legged. Could be on a little rock. I try to keep them all in relatively the same size to each other. So as you go through, try to warm up and play with some more shapes. Squares, trapezoids. Maybe he's got a industrial size zoot suit. And just realize that the more you play, the more you're gonna have some really fun, happy accidents occur. My little Ryan Church cloaked figure, the hood. There we go. And once you do this, I would say go through and try and do at least 3 to 5 rows. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer and I'm drop them down to the next file folder that I have down here, silhouette. So I take the copy, bring it down to silhouette. I'm going to hide my gesture layer. So I have my lines on one layer, background white on the layer below it, close my gesture layer, and move on to silhouette. There we go. And pick which ones. I think for the next one, silhouette, I'm thinking like 2 to 3 rows. So you can take the entire row and move it around, blow it up, duplicate it, whatever you want to do. For this one, I'm going to duplicate it one time. So Control J, I'll bring it up here. There we go. Just so I have something to play with. And we're going to go in and do the silhouette steady. So keeping it thumbnail size. Remember, hold your thumb up in front of you and like a plumb line and do a thumbnail on that. And now I can go in. I still have my main chisel brush. Literally, we're going to be chiseling some shapes here. And filling in, chiseling with the positive space. So we're using positive, negative shapes to fill in little fingers. What, maybe she's got like more of a hoodie, some kind of hooded raincoat on. And try and fill in your favorite gesture lines you have. This first one I did was definitely my favorite. It kind of just jumped off the page right away. And you can play with bracket key. You can bump your gestures up and down a little bit as you're going. And try and chisel back away using the gesture. Maybe I'll give her a heel. There we go. And just trying to find this somewhere. Maybe her umbrella's closed instead of open, right? So I can go back in. I can erase. I think, can I erase with my chisel brush? I sure hope so. There we go. Yeah, I got to catch up on Photoshop for chisel brush. See, make it 0 is 100% opacity. There we go. And clean that up a little bit. And what I'm doing here is I'm building for myself, just switching between B and E. I'm building up a library of possible shapes. I could zoom in a little bit here. I don't want to get too crazy, the detail. But yeah, there's my eraser. There's my brush. Well, didn't even know I switched black and white. But yeah, just use black and carve away. So the eraser is going to really be your friend here. So I can chisel back and I can sharpen any edges that I want to be sharper. That's why I named it the chisel brush, right? And I can I'm not spending a bunch of time. Please don't spend much time cleaning these up. They are supposed to be quick thumbnails. Just a few minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes. And I don't have my timer on right now, but I should have definitely my timer on, especially since class is starting in a minute. There you go. And she's ready. I could go in a little tighter here and chisel away some facial features or the hair if we wanted to. There we go. It's just a little nose to give an idea of what direction maybe she's facing. And that's probably good enough. I could fill in the rest of the white space here. And so, yeah, the silhouette should take about twice as long as your gestures. Just add these add up a little bit as you go. And then if I as I'm going, I can kind of play around with the flow of the raincoat and maybe think about which leg's the front, the leg, foreleg. The front here is stepping forward. The rear arm would be going backward then, and so that would mean her arms closest to us would be the one moving. And I'm trying to create some interesting space there. I guess the Sultan logo came to mind, and go around some other ones here. This one is moving. The stepping one was kind of interesting. So go in there and very quickly fill in the mass of what I know. You're going to trap a lot. You're trying to get a good silhouette as iconic, as iconography. And so you really, if changing the pose, you can sometimes break the rules and change the pose. So we're not trapping all the limbs and what might be an interesting element or piece for the character or art that you're doing. You can bring things out and untrap them from the silhouette so that way they read better for the silhouette. So yeah, so this person maybe instead of stepping downstairs is actually running towards us. And maybe they're hopping down some rocks and kind of people put their hands out for balance. And nothing too crazy in detail, but little fingers there. Are they having fun? Are they just kind of out on a hike? Are they his hands going away from us maybe? Or something else going on there. I don't know. Maybe they did a hat already for the other one. Maybe let's lose the hat. Fight the urge too early on to start adding faces and detail. You're just trying to get the silhouette, but already kind of happy with that, this person. So I'd go through and fill the rest of these out across the board, which I'll do in the next video. I'll take a few of these, so I'll hit Control J once more. And I'm going to drag them down into my perspective thumbnail group. So let's close up my silhouette group and open up perspective thumbnail. Looks like I have that one there. And So I'm just going to get rid of some of these. Now I'd have a whole row of these done if I spent, 30, 45 minutes just on doing that. We'll do it in class together, so like an hour helps. So I'll just name these as I go a little bit. Silhouette people. There we go. And we'll do some POV. So point of view on the perspective grid, we want to try and put ourselves in a scene. So I'm going to go with a small brush here, hold down Shift as I draw. If you want to cheat and have the computer do the straight lines for you. And then tap one time, go out here, hold down Shift and tap. See it does a little line. Or you could go out here and hold down Shift and tap, and that'll go inward. So that doesn't work again with the tapering of the shape dynamics, right? You have to turn that off temporarily in that way. If you draw your lines here, maybe make it a little smaller. There we go. And it's not perfect, but I'm going quick. These are thumbnails. I can lower the opacity as well. Now the other trick in here to just lower the overall saturation is Control U, right? That's our hue saturation value. So Control U up here in the adjustments. Talked about that first week. Hue saturation, Control U. That's your main one to just quickly lighten or darken something. So I'll just drop that a little bit lighter. Maybe I could use smaller lines as well. And I'll do another layer on top of Control Shift N. So we'll just say scene 1. There we go. And just play around with the learning perspective grid. So I think maybe, following the lines, make it a little smaller with my brush and until it's like barely discernible. Turn back on my shape dynamics, of course. There we go. And so when practicing my push, remember the straight line angle? You can always use R and spacebar to push these lines. R again. And so I'm just doing a freehand. It's a great exercise. I think field sketching helps. And for this one, perspective, 1 page, again, 2 to 3 rows helps. You're probably just going to do maybe a few of these per row. So as many as you can. So I'm happy if you just get 4 of them done, like 2 rows of 4 would be a good goal. So start off with some simple perspective pieces like buildings. Again, I can hold Shift down if I need it to be straight. And if it's above the line, of course. There we go. Some just kind of sticky keys always likes to pop up when I'm doing this. I don't know why. Never did figure that one out. There we go. And have a door. Right, it's almost at the perspective line there. And this one I totally messed up, right? So I gotta bring that back. Oh, because I'm dealing with off-screen sticky keys. Disable this. Thank you. All right, I don't have to see that anymore. I guess I just had to click on the thing. Yeah, so the lines in the middle, you can crisscross the line, but I'm not going to get into any really extreme accuracy for any of these. I'm just kind of loosening up a little bit. I see if there's like a tree, any trees. This is the midground, right? and you could play around with the brushes. But I think for this one, ooh, oh, I did not save my brush size, different size. There we go. So I'm playing with my pressure sensitivity and trying to come up with a composition that might be interesting. Um, is it a place? Is it in the neighborhood? People have yards. There's sidewalks and streets are good to play around with. There's a little gutter ring. Things should just get smaller as they're going farther away, so you're learning how to use your vanishing point effectively. And then in the background, I can do maybe some hills, something like that. Pull up lots of reference and ideas. And when I do a video just on this, I'll kind of go into more detail. Maybe there's some buildings out here. There's another road. Maybe small houses. Just a little. It's just loose sketching, just a little thumbnail. And I can Control T. I could take that. Let me escape out of there. Show you what size I'm at. That's what I started off with. Control T, and I can break that down. Now I have the point of view line in the back separate. I'm just gonna hit Control E, and we'll call that POV 101, and Control T. That way I can take that, and you can always flip it around, right? If you want to go the other way, you can flip it horizontal. Something you can't do in the real world so easily with your paintings or drawings. Just instantly flip it around and do another one. Control Shift N. We'll call this one POV 02, and leave that there. And this time I'll do something maybe a little more scenic. Maybe play with, start with the background this time. Do some mountains. Just let your lines dance across the page. I think try not to do too much repetition of pattern. If you do mountains, you want to like break it up and have different shapes. Otherwise, it'll look unrealistic. The same ones. So that's a background, little mountain scene, maybe off in the distance. And then maybe there's a little bay here, maybe like my little scene over here. If the Bay Area was empty still, and it was all grizzly bears and Ohlone Indians, natives running. Um, and then maybe in the foreground there's a dock. All right, so maybe put my point of view here lightly, just holding down the Shift key. Again, it's just a simple centered one, so nothing too crazy yet. So that may be crazy enough to change the dock. And maybe that's a little ramp for a car or something, or maybe there's a boat mid-ground, and then maybe the mid-ground, checking my compositional frame. You start thinking about how you want to block in your frame. And see, I thought I disabled my sticky keys. Let's see. What's in the foreground here? Well, let's see if there's I did a fisherman earlier. Maybe there's some rocks, rocky areas. So I'm kind of continuing the foreground element as just a simple layer, right? Background, midground, foreground. And maybe there's a fisherman here. Maybe he's got a dog with them. Maybe there's kid and some parents running out. See how the little just simple. Uh, view person. This is actually, you'd be surprised, a lot of architectural drawings use this element. So maybe that's my foreground. There's some people standing there, but maybe I want to make them a little bigger. I'm just going to lasso around that, Control T, make them bigger, bring them over here. I want to fill this space up here. And yeah, I'm not worried about the quality of the lines necessarily. I'm worried about the looseness and just playing, play. She says, hey, there we go. Maybe they're facing the camera for this one. Maybe she's got a dress on as well. Maybe some hair. We'll zoom back out again. That works for me. Control T. I can line this up. So I think if you have 4 of these at least, so if I replicate that, try that again. I have to enter after using transform. Control J, bring it down. I'm not saying to duplicate yours, I'm just kind of going a little faster so you have some frame of reference. Flip it horizontally. I could use this the same image to just kind of very quickly chop up. Even thinking of a scene, a camera. Maybe thinking of a movie or an illustration for a book cover or something like that. Um, yeah, I was thinking there's a house. Vanishing point's right there. And vanishing point's right there. Just draw my line from the vanishing point. There again. All the way down. All the way across. And at the peak of this gabled roof, maybe there's a let's see, what was I going to put there? I was going to put a crow. But my crow turned into a dragon with maybe bat wings. It's a small to medium sized dragon. And maybe at the front here, I'm doing a deck. So I'm just kind of following the lines here. And I could just wipe these folks out and put in maybe, I was doing the Harry Potter thing in the class the other day. Maybe back here, that's where the castle is. Another mountain with a, oops, be a little cleaner. Zoom in, steady my hand for a minute, and do the series of arches is an arcade, and underneath the bridge, maybe trussels. So to that effect, it goes up a little. It's not flat with the horizon line. That's fine. And I could do the little, make my brush smaller. This is a farther away element. Do little cone towers. If you're below something, the ellipse is going to be under, right? So it's going to go up into the ellipse. That's the old directional. If you're above something in the cone, the ellipse, you're only going to see the front of the ellipse. Whew, my hand is shaky. not going in the direction I want it to at all. Let me get this out of the way. I need to be over here the way my tablet's on my lap. So yeah, you got to figure that out for yourself as you're going. There we go. It's better. And you really need to put my canvas in the right spot where I could draw a straight line easier. If you're struggling, you can. Right, so but I think we're going to take that out. And maybe put some different people in there. So that was a rather big one for the scale. And of course, so size indicators, like little things, like this castle. If even that tower up top might be too big for a main one, but you can do a little smaller tower next to it. And then the last step we're going to do for this particular assignment is we're going to take a person from our other drawing, put it into the point of view drawing, the value, and then we're going to do mid-ground, foreground, background, right? So I'll hop over to the silhouette, which I had turned off, and I'll grab the first one here that I show them in the right layer. Just do a little lasso selection, Control C, copy. Turn that off. We'll go back down to our point of view and value point of view, and I will, let's see, looks like I started something there last time. Oh yeah, same thing. Look at that, castle, mountains. You gotta get more creative. Group that together, I can hide that. Looks like I forgot the background in there. There we go. Then do another one, Control Shift N, and we'll just say POV value, and then 0, 1. This would be fine. Control G, maybe group it to as well. POV val A. So now I can go in here and can turn off, well, let's paste it in there first. So Control Shift N, and I'll say foreground figure, and Control V, I'll paste her in there. There we go. So I have my woman with a umbrella on her shoulder walking across my scene. Or maybe I want to put her in this one. Right? Control T. So you're playing with your foreground elements. You're coming up with lots of ideas. And I rather like that one better. You're not settling, you're exploring, you're ideating, your ideation phase for what you're making. And so now I'll go back up here, grab that particular one right there. I can marquee drag across, Control C, copy, and I'll turn off that whole piece and come back to enter my value. Perspective thumbnail, this one here, and Control V, paste. And now I can do a foreground, background, midground value. So the figure's kind of in the way for now. So I'm going to make one more layer, call it value, put it behind the lines, right? So I have the option to fill it. And I'm going to do 3 values. I'm going to do a dark, medium, and a light. So we'll go right here, start here, do 3 values. So I have that on the previous class demo right here. So I can pull that up if I need to. So I can just color sample right off of that. So we'll go to the foreground here. So I'll go to my brush. And even though I'm in this group here, I could still, when I hold the brush held down, let me go to a nice big brush. And at this point too, I can, I don't need the brush to be quite so edgy. I can have a little bit of softness to it. Or do I want to leave it? I'll just leave it. I don't want to confuse anyone too much, too quickly. I wish that was smaller. Yeah, still fighting with the Photoshop UI a little bit here and there. Here we go. Rearranging, having different monitors, different setups, like, depending on what you want. Okay, value, brush. Let's start off with the lightest background first. So we'll go here, hold down Alt. The Alt automatically switches to the color picker, and tap one time there. Check inside my light gray, and you see that one is at 64%. Let's go even lighter. Let's go up here, which is at 82% brightness. And inside this scene here, I can fill in where the mountains are rather quickly. So I could just kind of fill this in. And if I stroke over the top of the other one, I'm at 100% opacity, so it's not going to leave any lines. Or that's where my hills are. There we go. And there's a little city. Didn't finish anything over there too much. There we go. Behind the tree, behind the building. A little sparse of a building. That's all right. Okay, hold down Alt and we'll get the next one, which should be this medium gray. So I don't know what's in here yet. And maybe, if you don't have line work for it already, we can just add. Like maybe there's some bushes and trees, some foliage. I don't know yet. And perhaps I gotta pick out what some of those lines might be in space back there. So I'm not quite drawing anything yet, but I'm thinking, yeah, let's do a smaller brush, add some trees, right? Kind of similar to whatever I'm going to do with that tree, I suppose. And if you're not sure, get some reference out, get your reference boards and do some searches. Don't use AI right away. Use your own imagination. Like let it search. Don't let it make it for you. Just quite yet, at least. Yeah. There we go. So that kind of filled out nicely. And then for the immediate, um, for my immediate foreground image, I took the darkest one. Oh man, there we go. And I'm not really worried about the sky just quite yet. We could do clouds and atmosphere later. But I am filling this whole thing in um, rather quickly. If I need to hold down the shift key, I'll hold it down for my architecture. Sometimes that's really helpful. And I'm not too worried about finishing off that house just quite yet because I haven't done my frame for the camera yet. So, and maybe the street takes a turn around instead of just being a straight line. I'm not sure what's here yet. Maybe there's a fence. Hedgerow fence. Maybe there's a picket fence here. Into the road. And yeah, maybe there's a sidewalk. And if I put our little figure back in there, all of a sudden she really stands out incredibly so. And I didn't completely fill that foreground with value, but let's go ahead and just do it and see how much of a contrast you have. So we're hoping to get a 1 page of this. 2 to 4 of these would be good. We don't have anything too detailed yet. And let's see, I'll cheat a little here with the, let's see, let me get rid of the other group. And I did, okay. Yeah, I mean, you could, rather quickly go in here to the brush settings and play with the scatter and the count and the shape dynamics. Here you go. Right, and so I could cheat a little. Some custom brushes. There we go. Maybe hold down Alt, go back here, and go smart. So size indicators, the smaller, things should get farther away as they get smaller. There we go. And now all of a sudden I have a little composition to play with. And I can always frame this out. Now to frame your final composition, I just recommend adding a black box around the top. So we'll just do Control-Shift-N, frame, and go D to make a default black and white. And I think if I switch my brushes, if I go back and forth, it'll go put the default back where it was. There we go. And yeah, whatever, if you're this isn't film or video games or anything. This is just drawing and painting. So this could be just about anything. This could be for a print. This could be for you want to print this out and do something else with it. You could finish it as a digital painting. You can change around what you want your focus to be. And later we're going to explore doing lighting with this. So yeah, this should be a lot of fun. It does take some organization. So we're looking for not anything brilliant. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Okay, these are explorations. These are for fun. This is following steps and process. I'm looking for organization, exploration, variety. Looking for really using that chisel brush to carve and learn how powerful digital drawing and painting is with the negative shape. You can't really do that in the real world and just carve in to a painting without using white on black, which then you're really dealing with wet media. It has to dry. And then, oops, yeah, perspective, just taking your first crack at perspective, just do a single point perspective, make the lines go in and just follow the grid. Try and get some squares, some blocks, some triangles. Just one building, one table. Again, don't beat yourself up. If your perspective is not perfect, do not care at all. Just have fun with it. Make it fun. Don't make it unfun. Doodling some people, again, anatomy. Like there's no awesome anatomy in there. Come on. This is just scribbles. But you can, if you have your silhouette people, you can play with your little Star Trek symbol characters and have them dancing. Have with the big flowing cape on. Play with the feet, making sure you have one closer, one farther away. Whatever, Make him a werewolf if you want. Right? He's a werewolf in a vampire's cape. That does not look like a werewolf at all until I put two big pointy ears on him and give him a big foofy wolf's tail poking out from the cape, right? Like whatever you want to make. I think if you want to just go around your neighborhood, you want to draw from life, you want to go to the park, you want to draw from a photograph. Don't trace the photograph. We're working on your muscle memory, being able to do this. And let your fingers dance on the page. All right. We'll see you in the next lesson. I'll go into more depth into the gesture, silhouette, perspective grid thumbnails, and then adding value and playing around with your composition.